Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video we're going to be looking at equipment slots. Now equipment slots aren't in the game of Devour and they'll probably never be in the game of Devour. It's just a fun little mental exercise I did to try and imagine what could maybe be added on later on down the line. Now I see equipment slots as one-time use items that you can equip, bring them into the match. Once you've used them in the match, you can't use them again. They're purchasable just like perk slots, so you use ritual tokens to unlock them, and then each match you choose which piece of equipment you want to bring along. Now, this right here is kind of what I imagine the equipment slot to look like, or the menu to look like once the equipment slot would be added. Just a simple addition of the equipment button with everything else, falling down below it. Now, once you click on this, here's what you would get. It kind of looks like this. Now, I have a bunch of pieces of equipment, maybe 12, I think, to check out, and we're going to go through them one by one. Now, right here, the first one is Bag of Salt. It's a one-time use item that can be placed in doorways to prevent Azazel from going through that doorway. If a player runs through a doorway where the salt has been spread, it breaks the salt line and allows Azazel and its minions to go through it once again. Now, this is kind of more of a tactical item where, sure, you can put it at the back door of the farm, but people go through the back door of the farm. In fact, just to enter the farm, the farmhouse, you'd have to be able to go through those salt lines. So one of the things I thought was, you can't put it there, and you wouldn't want to put it in the TV room, but maybe you could find places in the map that you could kind of like lock down Azazel from going. There's still like 4 or 5 places that Azazel can eventually get to you from, but you have to kind of choose to where to put the salt, and you have to kind of communicate where you're putting the salt if you're playing with other players. And once again, it's a one-time use item, so even if all 4 people bring it, you can only use it once, and you have to hope that everybody doesn't run through your salt line. Next up, we have the Hamza. This is an item that can be placed on door frames. Whenever an enraged Azazel passes through a doorway guarded by a Hamza, the Hamza shatters, and Azazel becomes passive once again. So basically, this is not just a set it and forget it, it's also a tactical decision. Where you're going to place it, you're going to have to place it somewhere you hope Azazel will run through. And once again, once Azazel hits that doorway where the Hamza is, they go passive, the Hamza shatters, it's no longer there. Which means now Azazel can pass through that doorway perfectly fine when they're enraged again. But it's basically a, okay, we're later on in the matches, let's kind of maybe place this in the doorway to the basement in the asylum. We're going to place it there so that if Azazel's, running to us, okay, now Azazel's passive again. After that, we have Cursed Blood. It's a vial of cursed blood that lures demons. Whenever a player is downed by Azazel, Azazel will drop them in the closest pool of cursed blood, or they will emerge near the closest pool of blood after returning to the map. So if Azazel is on farmhouse, grabs you, it's going to run to the closest pool of cursed blood that somebody has dropped, and that's where they're going to put the player that they grabbed. Or if, on the inn or the town, you're removed from the map to crawl through the catacombs, the spider catacombs, or you have to burn the spirits in the town. Wherever you emerge, you're going to emerge from the closest pool of blood from where you went down. So it's kind of like a failsafe. They're going to be here in case we need to revive someone. After Cursed Blood comes the Ritual Kit. You can use a Ritual Kit to set up a single-use sacrificial area where you can sacrifice a single ritual item in the map. Once it's used, it cannot be used again. Basically, this is kind of like a, I don't think I can make it back to the church. I'm going to set up my ritual area real quick, and now I'm going to now I'm going to burn this book right here. Something like that. Something that you can choose to have a tactical use of, or maybe just bring it in as a kind of backup plan. Okay, 3 of us are down, you're the only one with the book. Thank God you brought that ritual item. Just put the ritual item down and then burn the book. Now, I see setting up a ritual item as taking a few seconds, and then it's not going to be any faster or slower than the actual ritual item would be. So, if it's a rat on the asylum, you set up a little battery or something like that, and you just jolt the rat. If it's on the town, you still have to burn the book. So maybe it's just a small little campfire. After the ritual kit comes the radio. This is a small handheld radio which will play music and noise. This item attracts Azazel to it while Azazel is enraged. Azazel will destroy this item before hunting players. Azazel does not go passive after destroying a radio. Basically, Azazel finds a radio, destroys it, and then goes back after players. This is sort of like a delay in the time that it takes for Azazel to get from where Azazel enrages to the players. Basically, Azazel will go after this radio that you can place off in the far corner of a map or something like that, give you guys some time, maybe 20-30 seconds, to do what you need to do. After the radio comes the keyring. The keyring automatically gives you an amount of keys on the map you enter. You start with 3 keys in normal mode, you start with 2 keys in hard mode, and start with 1 key in nightmare mode. You will never start with the keys to the main buildings, cages, or other similar primary locks. That's basically kind of like a failsafe for it. You still have to go through the first part of the game of unlocking the area, and then you have keys to the doors that are inside, or the cages, or even on the town, some of the bookcases and stuff like that. Just a little quality of life item that you can kind of run around with and just be like, oh, okay, I don't have to waste my time doing this. You know, I can go straight to doing that. After that, we have a bottle of Saint Estephe Chamber. I think it might be Saint Estephe Chamber. I'm not really sure. Chambert? This is an item that's actually already in the game in the town. Carrying a bottle of Saint Estephe Chambert weakens Azazel's power. When you are nearby, Azazel's speed is slowed by 10% in normal mode, 5% in hard mode, and 2% in hard mode. Basically, you would want to combo this with something like Evader, so 25% faster while Azazel's chasing you, and if you're holding your bottle of Saint Estephe Chamber, you have a passive reduction to Azazel's speed as well. After that, we have Cactus Tonic. This gives you superhero... This is actually the description from the Cactus Tonic, so I just kind of used Cactus Tonics. It's because it's an item in the town. I used its own descriptor to make an ability for it. As far as Cactus Tonic goes, this gives you superhero powers and allows you to fly like an eagle. Once per match, you can use Cactus Tonic for a 50% burst of speed for 10 seconds. Another tactical item where, you're using Evader, you're running on the, say, farmhouse or something like that. They're at 8 or 9 goats, and Azazel's on your butt. You have Evader, use your Cactus Tonic and just burst forward so that you can actually give Azazel a good run for their money while everybody else is doing what they need to do, at least for another 10 seconds. It might give you 15 seconds in the long run. After Cactus Tonic, we have The Wild Theory, a book that's actually in the Asylum. This gives you, this book by J. Forrester holds some mysterious power. While carrying it, Azazel requires 1 less stun to return to its passive state to a minimum of 1 stun. This does not stack with other copies of The Wild Theory. Basically, holding The Wild Theory as the person who just has The Wild Theory in the group would make it so that Azazel is just a little bit easier to get back into its passive state. It never means that Azazel never goes enraged because it requires Azazel will always require a minimum of 1 stun. So in normal mode, where it's normally 1 or 2 stuns, up to a certain point, it's now just 1. Once it's up to the point where it's like 3, now it's 2. When it's 4, now it's 3. Very simple, but very useful, especially for newer players. After that, we have Live Fuse. Once per match, whenever you are knocked down, Live Fuse activates and sends an energizing jolt through your body to revive you. Cannot be used in Nightmare mode. Basically, this is just a fail-safe for if you get grabbed during normal or hard modes. People won't have to come and grab you, pick you up for 1 time, just once. After that, you will have to have a medkit to be provided to you, but this is kind of like that little fail-safe where it was just a little bit too inconvenient that you got grabbed, you get plopped down, and the Live Fuse activates. You don't get to choose when to use it. It just activates the first time you get downed, and it picks you right back up after you get dropped. Second to last is Miniature Spirit Gate. You can place the Spirit Gate anywhere on the map. Once placed, it cannot be moved. Minions who come within 3 yards of the Spirit Gate are immediately banished. So this is sort of like a go-away zone for minions, for the spiders, crawlers, wheelchair guys, spirits, stuff like that. You basically place it somewhere you know they like to congregate, or somewhere you just don't want them to be. And within 3 yards of that, which isn't actually all that far, if they come within that area, they get banished. And last but not least, we have Child's Artwork, an item you can find in the farmhouse. In fact, many spirit gates can be found on the end. But Child's Artwork, you can activate Child's Artwork to reveal the aura of all keys and ritual items to you for 30 seconds. You can use Child's Artwork 3 times in normal mode, 2 times in hard mode, and 1 time in nightmare mode. Basically, this just tells you, especially if you're looking for keys and you haven't memorized all the spawn points yet, you can be like, okay, there's a key, there's a key, there's a key. Or after you say you kick all the cans and stuff like that in the asylum, okay, there's the rats. Okay, I kind of know exactly where they are. The rats wander, so we don't always know exactly where they are, but we know the general area now. But these are the sort of items that I think could be added to the game to give you some tactical choices for one-time use effects. I've put in costs that I think are kind of fair for their abilities and their effects, but they can always be adjusted and stuff like that. If you guys like them, let me know down in the comments. If you have some ideas for others, or if you think that they can be used in different ways, let me know. I'm always interested to see what you guys think of my ideas. I hope you all have a great day, and as always, stay positive. Oh, also, if the devs are watching, feel free to use this idea. Take it and run with it. Have a great day, guys. Stay positive.